It's my pleasure to welcome Dr. Vibhuti Jha, who is Executive Director in Nalanda International, USA. In 1991, he worked in leadership role with the American Express Bank to build and develop Indo-US business relationships. He obtained his undergraduate degree with majors in economics and minors in politics and psychology from Fergusson College, Pune, and his master's is in economics. He got his inclination towards understanding of Indian culture, its rich tradition, values, and Vedic heritage. He participated in the PBS Live program on Asian Indians in America, speaking on Indian culture, traditions, and values. He is a committed practitioner of transcendental meditation for the past 30 years. So please welcome Dr. Vibhuti Jha.
Namaste and greetings to all listeners and viewers who are there here today on the United Consciousness celebration of Yoga Day. Now we are talking today about Shaucha, purity in performance. In my experience of my life, I do know one thing for sure, that everywhere everybody wants to perform at the highest level of his capability, without realizing that we ever come to know what our actual ability to perform is. So whenever I am confronted with the situation, did I do my best? I always ask that question, what was my best? Did I do my best in this given situation, in this given circumstances? So let's kind of understand, because yoga is nothing else but it creates a unification and alignment in the mind, body, and consciousness. It produces a sync in the three elements of our physical existence, spiritual existence, and essential being as a human being. So what are the factors that contribute towards greater level of performance in our life? One of the things is very important. We have to remember that we have to be open-minded. We have to remain open-minded, be willing to learn, be willing to be taught, to use the modern language, be coachable, be able to get mentored to becoming what you are and what you want to become. So when our mind, body, and consciousness and the spirit or flash is in sync with each other, to use the sportsman language, we say, I'm in a zone. My performance outstrips everybody's expectations. And that's the key element. When the alignment goes awry, then we know that our performance is not meeting its highest level of expectation and performance. So what is critical about this performance? What is purity in this context? It's very important to remember that it has a lot to do with the Hindu concept of Dharma. Dharma is not religion. Dharma is not action. Dharma is what brings authenticity to our practice and performance. We all instinctively, intuitively, and using our intelligence know exactly when we are doing the right thing and we are not doing the right thing. I won't say use the word wrong, but the right thing and the not so right thing. We intellectually, instinctively, and intuitively, remember that part, is very critical for learning ourselves. So in this situation, when we do something right, we know about it. And that's called our Dharma, individual Dharma. And that's where it translates into a collective Dharma. It's not about something being right or wrong, but something that is the most appropriate thing to do in the moment of time. And when we acknowledge that when we are doing the right thing, we are doing what is appropriate for the occasion, that's the time when we are exercising our Dharma. Dharma doesn't mean you can't be violent. It's a very strange realization, because we know that if, regardless of how much we may be believers in non-violence, or be a vegan or a vegetarian, But when our family and ourself is attacked by somebody unwanted, that's the time when we have to protect. It's our dharma to rise up and protect and defend our family, our structure, our essential being. And you can only do that when we are in a state of perpetual readiness. That's what is important. And I have always related the element of performance with actual situations on the ground conditions. Take the example of sportsmen. They don't just get up to participate in Olympics. They practice, they learn. In the previous session of yoga, the Guruji said, have best wishes with your learning. That's the important part. We have to be learning, to be in a continuous state of readiness to perform. And that will not come about unless and until we have the purity of mind of doing our dharma. That's very important. Whether you belong to any faith, whether you belong to any organization, there is always a process whereby we know what's our dharma, intellectually, instinctively, and intuitively. The other part, which is very important, that when we begin to learn, it is a somatic experience. That's what body learns. We can acquire a knowledge at any given point in time. We can acquire a knowledge by reading, by observing, by seeing things the way it is done. So we can learn whatever we want. We can acquire the knowledge. But if our body doesn't imbibe it as an embodied competence, we can't do it. So again, back to the three I's, instinctively, intuitively, and using our intelligence. We all know what yoga does. But the question is, we all need to practice. We all need to learn how to do it. And when we begin to learn to do it, imbibe it in our body, that's the time when we are able to do it to the best of our ability. Not everybody is born equal. People are, often talking about equality and equity in the modern times. But remember, unless and until we recognize that there are individual differences in the world at any given point in time, because we are born equal as infants, and after that, we grow. We grow, we mature, we age, and we perish. This is a natural phenomenon in our life. So each individual becomes different and attains a different level of performance only by learning, only by training, only by being coachable to become better in life. So that's very key element to do. If I want to drive, whether I can drive 17 hours or 5 hours, we have to know how to drive. We did not become a good driver by learning the knowledge of driving or memorizing the driver's manual or memorizing the instructions how to be a good driver. Otherwise, we would be a great swimmer, great tennis player, or a great whatever we want it to be. But the learning is a commitment. That's a commitment. You drive it through your ability, what you are best at. So when we are trying to perform well in any endeavor of life, any endeavor, whether we want to be a soldier, politician, accountant, bankers, spiritual leaders, we practice, we learn, we acquire that knowledge, and it's only then that we are able to do the best that we can. What is important here is to be able to learn is to be able to be coachable. There are many stages of expertise. Not everybody becomes a master or an expert or a subject matter, because it's very important to bear in mind that we have to learn continuously to move from a stage of a learner, a beginner, become proficient, become more competent, we become masters, and we become experts or a virtuoso performers. These are various degrees of capabilities that exudes our performance in the real field. So the important part of our performance is that we have to be constantly aware What is it that I do not know about it? That's where the constant learning comes from. And the learning becomes better only when we practice. So the purity concept is important, because if we want to do well in life, we make a commitment. We understand the environment. We have to nurture our ambition through application and skill, and we don't become judgmental. These are virtues of important arena for us to all understand that, whatever it is, energy follows attention. I'm giving you certain concepts here. So, because if you want to perform better, we have to begin to commit to that. And we have to begin to commit, we have to give time, we have to make efforts, and we have to imbibe. So, nothing in life will become better unless it is imbibed as an embodied competence in our physical sense of the life, whether it is any field that we want to transcend into. What is important here is that very, very critical, understanding the environment that we live in. I have always been a learner, because we have to be able to avoid being blind to our own blindness. Certain times we say, you are wrong, because I do not know what he or she is talking about. So when we become aware of our own blindness, it's like driving, you have a blind spot. We have special cameras, a special mirror there to showcase to you that there is a blind spot. We all have a blind spot. And yesterday I was listening to a major guru, and he told somebody that blind spots always exist. The question is, are we aware of that? So when some truck is overtaking us, it's featuring in our blind spot, we still are not seeing what's behind that truck and how much time it will take to learn where does our safety lie. So the point of the matter is, this is a very, very beautiful subject. In the world, I have not come across anyone who doesn't want to do well in life, doesn't want to perform well. Important part here is to be consciously aware that it's only when our mind, body, and consciousness is aligned in a manner that it puts us in a zone that we excel. Nobody always operates at 100% of his or her capacity, but our objective is to enhance our ability to do things better. And that's also important to understand. We'll never be perfect. There is one guru who is better than other guru. There is one tennis player who is better than other tennis player. There is one computer programmer who is better than other computer programmer. These are all people who excel. And yoga, meditation, pranayam, these are exercises. These are methods through which we can indulge in greater learning. I use the word indulge is because it's available to us. We do not have to do a PhD or be in a master's class to do that. But if we do attend classes, that's the time our knowledge base goes over and we'll acquire more practices. With this, I will close my subject. Thank you very much for listening to me. But bear in mind, for the mind, body, and consciousness to be aligned, we have to know our Dharma, which we know instinctively, intuitively, and intelligently, intelligence that we possess. With this, we will be able to do much more by embodying the competence that is essential to be successful in life. So purity in performance is key. We all must strive to be better and do better. Thank you very much. Best wishes.
On behalf of United Consciousness, I thank Mr. Vibhuti Jha for coming onto the platform of United Consciousness and sharing his views. Thank you so much.